Okay. Let me know if you can hear and see. Awesome, awesome. Hi Baxapate, hi Dominic. Hi Mikey. I'm drinking tea. Hey Melody, hi. Nice to see you. Whew. My hands are so dry. Still. I hope you guys have your beverages and snacks. I have tea, I have a coffee, and I have a water bottle. Well, a tumbler thingy. Hi, still working on my calling page. The cat looking at the lizard. Did you post it on the Discord, Melody? Sorry. Oh yeah, I'm super late. I have so many unviewed. Oh, help. Oh my god, you guys posted a lot of nice stuff. We ran out of cinnamon. How? It's not because I have a bag of 1 pound of cinnamon in my pantry that I wouldn't feel whole without cinnamon. Like, nearby. I'm not sure, I think it was a Patreon perk. Oh, the comment pages! Oh, it must be the... Is it the cat looking at the scared mouse? That's why I was a bit confused. I mean, if you see a lizard, that's perfectly fine too. I'm not picky. That's the cat walking on the log. Oh yeah, we can't really see. But anyway. Just got done eating breakfast. Gouache, sausage roll, and donuts. Donuts, I thought it was a lizard. It is now. That's perfectly fine. Especially if you shrunk it a bit. I mean, we have 2 sticks, but question how long they've been there. Oh, it's still good. Dude, does it smell off? If it smells fine, I would risk it. I mean, cinnamon is cinnamon. Hey, Cyan! Hi! Oh, I am working on the October coloring page too. I'm a bit late, but it should be up very soon. I posted the sketch, so it shouldn't be very long before it's completely finished. Hopefully this weekend. So I'm still working on the rewards. I finished these 4. Hope it's not too much of a glare on these. Yes, sort of in frame. Anyway. So these are finished. I have these. These are almost finished. I still have a couple of details to do. And some cleaning up of the more opaque colors outside of the frame. Some minor stuff. And I have to start a 3rd batch, which is what I was gonna do today, if you guys are fine with that. Fantabulous. The September sticker is ready. October. No, I still have to ink it, but I have to because I couldn't decide. So my little frame template here. Whee! Hey, YZ, hi. Hello, hello. How is everyone today? It's raining so much. Oh, really? I just finished today's Buntober piece. Oh, yay! I really like the Hanemule zigzag sketchbook. It is fun to draw on. Huh. How's the paper on that one? I hate having dry fingers. My hubs lost the battle with the bed. Oof. Oh, ouch. Was it the toes? I always have one of these little Swiss utility knives, whatever. Especially for the scissor. The scissor and the file. The nail file. Brilliant stuff. I think it is basic. Okay, the paper. But is it good? Basic cellos? Like, does it work well? It was right between the ribs. Ow! How? Ouch! Oh, that sounds really painful. I'm gonna open up my Pinterest board of reference photos for these. Well, my phone is sort of stumping me. Okay, sorry. The edge, I'm just... Oh my god. Stop pestering me! Oh my god. Quiet. Where is my board? What did you do? Oh my gosh, where is it? What did it do with it? Oh, why is it there? Useful! Okay, sorry. Cut my toenails this week and screwed that up. Oh no, ugh. That's really painful. But it is like one really long piece folded in sketchbook. I try fit. Oh, that's a lovely idea. I moved a step to help the pup onto the bed, and he tripped and does. Oh, I was freaking out about his ribs. Oh yeah, broken ribs is a freaking hassle. I've had surgery for those 3 times. Oh, ouch. Hey, Susan, hi. Hello, hello. So yes, I have this Patreon board of all sorts of oval portraits that I use as inspiration. Sorry. Keep one of those close by. Thank you. I recently got addicted to an art manga called Blue Period. Is it good? I saw it and I was like, huh. I'll have to look into that more. It looked really interesting. It's so good if you like a crash course on how to be a proficient artist. Really? I always feel like the one of the really helpful tips into being proficient is to be fortunate and not have any mental health issues. The majority of it is the character taking a cram school for art majors at Tokyo University. Apparently they have a tuition of 500,000 yen, which is 5 grand if conversion is right. With an aim for Tokyo U, okay. It looks really, really cool. I had sort of bookmark it on, like I use my Amazon wish list as a way to keep track of interesting stuff. And I'm pretty sure I had it in there. We started watching Little Witch Academia on Netflix. Not done yet, so no spoilers, but it's such a cute and fun show. It's a bit like if Harry Potter wasn't problematic with awesome animation. They mentioned that when you go to museums, you don't have to like every art. It's about picking the pieces like food. You don't have to eat everything. But it's so difficult. Like, it's difficult to separate all the stuff you find pretty. It's not all stuff that you necessarily want as inspiration. if that makes sense. The art I enjoy looking at the most is nothing like what I can or want to produce. Oh, you're good if you can sort of separate that. I kind of have to sit down and like fill a self-made questionnaire to be able to parse if I were to sort of put a thing I like. Like, is it just pretty or is it inspiration? They even go into art in the past versus today's art, which is more contemporary and has to have a purpose for each decision. Wow, that sounds really awesome. I'll really have to check it out. I'm amazed by portraiture and how masters capture something in a single stroke. But cutesy doodling is my job. It's a really good question to ask oneself, like when you're really into something, to sort of ask yourself, like, do I want to make something similar, or is it just that I find this pretty? Oh, by the way, did you hear about the museum in Denmark, I think, where an artist was commissioned for 2 pieces for like 40-80K? I can't remember, and just sent in a canvas with white blobs. It titled it "Just Take the Money and Run," or something along those lines. Oof. I mean, if that's the case, it's at least transparent. But yeah, it's in my I don't know. Hold on, let me check this out quickly, just so I know what I'm talking about. Oh. In the name of art, an artist pockets $83,000 and creates nothing. Oh my gosh, I hate when they do this thing where I have to create an account. The artist delivered 2 blank canvases titled "Take the Money and Run" to a Danish museum. He was commissioned to produce a commentary on work in the modern world. I mean, okay. It proved a point, but... Well, here it doesn't even say white blobs. It says that the thing was empty. Like, the canvases had nothing on them. Sorry, I'm looking at the Google results, and the top star is Danish. Is this how I'm supposed to say it? Museum wants artists to pay back money after producing blank canvases. I mean, if you really don't want to bother, pretty sure you could at least put something in there. Artist's name Jens Hunning. That's really annoying. Let's check this. Oh. It's really like a big freaking blank. It looks like there is some blotches of something on the canvas. I don't know what that's supposed to be. Yeah, if it was one empty and another one like, I don't know, like twice the same. Oh my gosh. The artist Jens Hanning says the blank canvases make up a new work of art titled "Take the Money and Run," that he calls a commentary on poor wages. One thing it's not, he says, is a theft. The work is that I have taken their money. What the heck? I mean, technically, you ain't wrong, but oof. Artist urges the public take the money and run. I suppose it invoked conversation. It definitely. I thought it was a bold statement of the commissioning of art. It kind of is, but at the same time, it's taking a piss too. I thought it was just whatever was used to prime the canvases, but I'm no expert on the set of picture. Yeah, there's kind of weird marks on it, but the image was too small to see anything. I think you should have cut the money up on the smaller piece. Taking money still bold. I can see the statement, but the next artist sketch after. Yeah, that's probably the real issue. I think you're right. Like he's setting a precedent. Is that how you say that? But a precedent. A precedent for future commissioned work. That the people who pay for artwork will probably add more limitations. It's like that song, "Go on, take the money and run." Yeah, precedent. Okay, cool. Hey, Nicole, hi. Dang it. Like at that what I miss, not much. We're talking about the story that a museum paid the equivalent of $84,000 for two paintings, and the artist delivered blank canvases. Oh, I'm so sorry. He called it "Take the Money and Run." Yes, I read that article. See, I'm trying to see what if I was in the same situation. Someone pays me $84,000. I don't know what I would do, and if I have to make art that is like, it sounds like something you do at uni, at college. I went to college for 6 years for 3 different classes. Anyway, Quebec schools, but one of the first 3 years I did, it was in graphic design, and we would share some spaces with the arts department, and I saw a lot of stuff that was in the same veins as blank canvases. Like, one of them was a piece of bread, like a slice of bread, in the middle of a gray canvas. So yeah, Banksy, you didn't you didn't invent anything. And another one was a piece of wood with 2 rolls of toilet paper, and everything was covered in a layer of brown wax. Yeah. I was able to sort of understand Banksy's banana piece reading Blue Period. Apparently it's supposed to contrast apple as a motive. That's about as far as it goes. There was if you check on YouTube, there is a video by, I think it's artist Cat Grapham, and she made a video that adds a lot of context to the stupid banana piece. I don't remember what it is. If I can remember or find it again, I will share it on the Discord after the stream in the Livestream after party channel. Hey, hello April. Article said you had till January 16th to give the money back, or the museum might press charges. The thing is that, yeah, I can see the museum's position as well. Like, sorry. Like, they kind of paid for something specific. Art should be and always has to be controversial. Well, not all art. Or, I mean, if that defines art, a lot of stuff is not art. Always has been controversial. Yeah. I'm just a bit like, I'm thinking, like, if the artist had a good sum of money, and they kind of, from what I read, they asked him to sort of redo pieces that were a decade old. But then again, that was like an opportunity to have fun for $84,000. And $80K for publicity. Did they get their money back through that? I wonder. Possibly. Pretty sure it will drive people to the museum. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, the landscaper is here to mow the lawn for the 3rd time this week. Ugh. What do you mean, Mikey? If it was just one canvas, I kind of feel like I would sort of see it a bit more. The fact that it's twice the same thing is what I find weird. Dude is fortunate that he's enough of a fine artist that he can sort of get away with doing something like that. Most people I know who do art for a wage or for a livelihood, they can't simply go like, here, I'm giving you back nothing and that's it, pay me. He said, yes, I know I broke the contract, that's the art. I don't know, feels a bit try-hard. It has that energy of the student who didn't bother finishing the assignment and is like, oh, but my very revolutionary take on this is that I didn't do anything, see? Okay. I'm not sure. Anyway, blah. It's a bit like, I feel like once might have made a point, but two canvas exactly the same. That's not that's a bit too dismissive. What's the point of saying the same thing twice? I feel like the museum should have kept tabs. Don't they have a back and forth? Yeah, probably, but maybe the artist was very dodgy. I'm still picturing the... Like, there is another, like, sort of famous art piece that is technically a white square on a white canvas. But that one has a bit of a story to it, and it's sort of the progression towards something. It's not necessarily meant to be political work, and maybe just something like meaningful to the artist, like a personal thing. Hey Melissa, hi. Oh, here's a side note question. My bestie has gotten bitten by the watercolor bug. Oh no. And I want to put together a little kit for them. Trying to figure a good balance of number of colors. What's too many, too few? If you got a gift as a beginner. I think 12 is a good number. It's pretty standard. Like, I feel like 12 is a good number. The real issue is more in the selection of the colors in the set. I know lots of simple pieces that Lisa more about the technique and how difficult it actually is to reproduce. Yeah. Like a lot of sort of modern contemporary art doesn't necessarily has a really obvious meaning, but when you learn about it, it's really interesting. So sometimes you look at something, you're like, what the... But then when you learn about it, like who's the artist, what was the thought process, how they got there, and all that. That's when it becomes really interesting. But it's all a lot of work to sort of be able to look at a piece of art and be like, I get it. You know. Yeah, I think a split primary is mandatory, a good magenta, you know. And some earth tones might be fun. Some of your favorite colors, possibly a good what's the word I'm looking for? A cobalt teal, or you know, this really bright cyan color. Hey, Jellybean, hi. I'm really good at over the top. I still think 12 is a good number to start, and you can always prepare some special add-on kits for later on, like little groups of pans that you can then gift the person to add more to their palette once they're comfortable with the OG 12. Enough to mix in a few special ones, yeah. And it's not too overwhelming. Like, you don't have to sort of reference a swatch card or like really have to think about what color is where. Like at 12 colors, it's still obvious what is where. I can't remember which, but one of the DS split primaries frustrated me. Was it the French ultramarine? Such an annoying color. Oh, stupid rock. That was an ad. Why? Pinterest, why? Yeah, the French ultramarine text I'm getting used to before it doesn't tell you to. I just didn't like it. I kind of went and figured out replacement for all the 6 colors of the DS split primaries with Sennelier colors. I'm so sick of Pinterest giving me ads suggesting how to lose weight. Ugh, seriously. You can, I don't know if you can on the, I'm not super savvy with the app, but I know you can tell them that, like to either block the ads or to never see the ads again, or that the ads was inappropriate or something like that. You can eventually possibly get them to stop giving you those. What's wrong with the Daniel Smith French Ultramarine? It dries really hard and it's a bit difficult to re-wet. Yeah, I've been doing that. Oh, and distill you. Ooh. It's not as great a tool as it once was, which is sort of the way everything goes these days. Like something is awesome and rather than later it becomes crummy again. I don't watch anything food related and constantly get the doom diet. What is that? I don't mind Daniel Smith French Ultra. It's fine for me. My issues was that it was super granulating. Yeah, that's a bit weird too. Like, Daniel Smith has a regular ultramarine that is easier to wet and a bit smoother, and I don't understand why they didn't put that one in the primary set. Rats, I just bought a tube to see the difference between it and the... Well, you might end up liking it. I haven't seen a lot of people that dislike it as much as I do, to be honest. I think the real name is Noom. Oh! Yeah, it's a... It's not just for dieting, it's for exercising too. Like, it's a bit of a life coach thingy, but an app. And mac and cheese ads. Yeah, those are not conflicting at all. No issues here whatsoever. What? Mac and cheese. Oh yeah, the French Ultramarine is fine, so you're fine. Actually, like... Oh yeah, a lot of people like it. I don't know what kind of ads I get on... Well, I got one for Canadian Tire, which is sort of a hardware store, so not super related. A lot of fashion stuff, like, you know, those cheap fast fashion websites. Yeah, a lot of clothing stuff. Well, I'm looking for Victorian outfits, so I guess that sort of makes it more relevant. Oh, shut up. It's the same ad again that always autoplays when I hover over it. I imagine lots of lingerie if you're looking for Victorian era looks. Not too bad because I wrote Victorian outfits. I guess that would make sense. Harder to re-wet because of a higher mineral content and more granulating. Yeah, it has probably larger particles, so. Oh, so no secrets. Yeah, no. Not too many. Like, I get nightgowns and weird like corset tops, but those are mostly the ads. Oh my gosh, that's awful. Trying to find some like men outfits from that period, and the first couple of things are so not good. Like, Hey, Tsukaboo, hi. Oh no. Oh, that sucks for the migraine. I hope you get better soon. Becky says, that reminds me of that book, The Secret Museum, with all the early born. Oh no. If I were to add a drop or two of gum arabic, would that help it re-wet more easily? No, I think it would make it harder. Gum arabic dries. Like, the issue with Daniel Smith's version of French Ultramarine, in my opinion, is that most of their paints only use gum arabic and pigment and water. You got no humectant in there. They don't use, well, they don't use, Osgold is not a humectant, it's a dispersant, but they don't use honey, they don't use anything to sort of bring moisture to the paint, so that's why it dries so hard. Sennelier has a ultramarine deep, Holbein has a ultramarine deep, and they're both much easier to re-wet. I know I tend to see lots of gym ads when I look for anatomy. Yeah, that makes sense. Maybe honey, but you would have to add a really minuscule amount. Sorry, oops. To give you an idea, this is a sort of full batch of binder that I made, okay? And in this jar that has about half a cup, there is all in all 2 teaspoons of honey and 2 teaspoons of glycerin. So if you have 125 milliliter total, 10 of it is honey and 10 of it is glycerin. So like it's less than 10%. So you really gotta be like, a drop of honey in a pan is probably a bit too much. But if you use a toothpick, you might be able to dose it better. Yeah, it will be wet. If you give it time, it will be wet. The only issue really that you'll have if you do nothing is that the color will never stain your palette. It will, like, as soon as it's dry, it's gonna become unstuck from the palette. I don't think glycerin is better. They have a bit of a different purpose. Like, honey also helps with the it has kind of an antibacterial thing too. Hey, dude, hi. Hello, bonjour. Hello. honey can help with mold. Thank you. I was really looking for those words. Blah, 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 blah. It can help, but it's not perfect either. Not that it will mold if you don't add it. Oh, exactly. Glycerin can make things really gross and gloopy with a tiny bit too much. That's the problem with glycerin. It really reminds me of the kind of result I get when I try to layer like Gottman colors, especially their sap green. And if you have too much glycerin in there, if you like, I don't know how to say it exactly, but I had a test like blob of paint that was dry, that had too much glycerin in it, and it was left on a paper, and after a while the glycerin left like a grease mark on the paper. I don't think it's greasy per se, but it sort of seeped out of the paint. I think you mentioned that it gave it a greasy mark last time. Oh, sorry. But yeah. It has no smell though, which is a bonus. And it's transparent, like you won't color your paint, even if like it doesn't really color the paint in the concentration that is used, but glycerin is like absolutely transparent. So you can't really baby oil. Hey, Paulo, hi. Nope. I forgot a bottle of my blender was on my desk for the last week, and it sounded a bit carbonated when I opened it, but not Wi-Fi. Oh no. I live out in the country in New Jersey, and I just found local honey for $7 a quart. Ooh! Ooh! That sounds excellent. Have you looked at the old Pride and Prejudice from KSPS for Victorian style reference, by the way? I'm not sure if they're exactly Victorian era, but the clothes are pretty similar. Pride and Prejudice is a bit before Victorian era. Yeah, they don't have the same kind of outfit. It's, I think it's Edwardian. Hold on. I'm off. Hey, thank you so much for being here, Melody. I hope everything is okay. Thank you so much, and have a great weekend. Oh, it's Georgian era. Pride and Prejudice, technically. I think they switch it up a bit for the 2005 movie. But I'm not sure. Victorian is not quite like that. Pride and Prejudice, Georgian Regency. Oh yeah, Regency. I've watched a lot of Sherlock Holmes, which is more Victorian. You don't get a lot of ladies in there. Yeah. But, the good old Granada series with Jeremy Brett. Good stuff. Still peeved about the last cherries Archambault color. Oh, that sounds like good gossip. What happened? Yeah, do tell, Paulo. And now I now think I understand why you say that most artists are rather not versed in the science of color. Oh no. We've had the argument with every family member on if our house is Georgian or Victorian. Still don't know, but 1914 is old. Georgian is older than that. Yeah. Jeremy Brett is the best Holmes period. Yep. Trying to think. Yeah, he's top. Though I gotta say, in terms of like pure enjoyment, Henry Cavill makes a ridiculously handsome Holmes that is absolutely out of canon, but still very enjoyable. This is the only good thing in the Enola Holmes movie, in my experience of it. Victorian is like from mid to end of the 19th century or so. And I think Georgian is before that. I think. Not sure. It was about blue, and the artists in residence talked about some stuff which was basically wrong. She confused a lot about the cold and warm blues in the stream, but I totally understand that. One makes mistake when talking live. Even when I teach classes, that happens. But saying stuff like, if you shine a blue light on a yellow object, it comes out as green. That's weird. Just shows that people don't understand how color work. Oh, tea was had and spilled. Clive is trying to figure out, but Edwardian is defo sounding right. And don't know that the RGB model is different from... Oh, that's really annoying because it's so different. It's apples and oranges, literally. I pre-mentioned Bestie called me with the RGB frustration. And second time to RGB or RYB? And second to discuss use white. One is a additive and the other subtractive, and she even made a comment afterwards because she knew that she made a lot of mistakes during the presentation and confused the viewers. Ugh. Is it too much like gossipy to ask who it was? Calling arrows by the British rulers is so effing Anglocentric, but that's the English-speaking ball, I guess. Ugh, yeah. It's so silly. And it's so difficult to remember it all if you're not super savvy with your British rulers. It's like, I don't know the name of the artist because they changed it. Oh, okay. What the heck? It seems our house is Georgian according to asking Google directly, but like I said, it's old enough to know the use carry material. Oh. I only know the era names because of that Hidden Killers documentary series. Oh, shush. Dang it. Oh no. Gotta say, menswear during that era was a lot less inventive than women's wear, aka boring. I don't want modern versions, I want old crummy versions, please. Emmy Klein. Okay. Color mixing with light is amazing. When I started with watercolor, I thought it may be similar. Not even a little. Yeah, it's not the same process at all. I really need to finish this coffee. Or I'll never be able to sleep tonight. I've seen men's wear suits and they're definitely very subtle. I remember looking at a tailor describe American and Italian bespoke suits. It was interesting once. Yeah, it's super interesting. It's just not. It's a bit too subtle. Like when you draw cartoony stuff. It's super important if you do like recreations of stuff, but for the sake of drawing it on cats. It's really bad though, because so many people like me struggle with the cool versus warm. What is the difficulty you guys find in like demystifying cool versus warm? I've heard a complete opposite of what I thought was correct. Oh no! Oh, that's the one thing I noticed Blue Period skipped. They didn't go too heavy with color theory. Or much at all. I'm betting it's super touchy. Well, it's difficult in a black and white manga too. I mean... Hold on, let me see this thing. Okay, so I don't know if this will help, but if you guys remember this floral watercolor e-booklet by Jenna Rainey that we talked about in a live stream a couple of weeks ago. And it was mostly because of this color wheel that we were kind of pointing out that a lot of the colors are a bit weird in the sense that you have like 4 times the same color or so in the reds, and that the orange is really weak. Okay, I know this is printed, so keep that in mind, but there's sort of 2 layers to warm and cool color. And the way she sort of split them in here I thought was kind of interesting. So she says that generally warm colors are, the generally is from me, but generally, quote, warm colors are any color that derive from red. From example, red, violet, oranges, pinks. Then she says yellow is an in-between color and can be warm or cool depending on if it has a tint of red or a tint of blue in it. Fair enough. And then she says cool colors are any colors that derive from blue. Greens, purple, blue, violet, turquoise, cobalt. So I thought that was kind of clever. But the thing is with cool and warm is that first you have the color wheel where you can generally decide which color is like on which side. But then within each color, you can have sort of a cooler and a warmer variant. So there's two levels of it. There's the basic level of just the color, but then you can get like more into it and have like blues that are warm and blues that are cool and yellows that are warm, red that are warm, cool. Like it's two levels. I just have a really hard time seeing that a blue is warm or cool. Red and yellows I can see. I can't see the red in blue. Well, it's just if you look at the blue like ultramarine, if you have phthalo green blue shade next to it, you can sort of see that the ultramarine is a bit less green. So if it's less green, that makes it less cool. So if it's less cool, it's a bit warm. Yeah, temperature is always relative. I have more problems with yellows being cool. Well, if your yellow is a bit more green, it means it has a bit of blue in it, so it's a bit cooler. My Schminke set has more turquoisey blue than you can shake a stick at, and I've learned which mix is better for what over time, but if I look at the swatches, it's hard to see much difference. But to be honest, it is a concept that I don't think that is that important or even helpful. I'm not sure I agree. It's kind of helpful if you are unable to get the mixed color you want. It can really help you figure out why you're not getting the color you want to be able to see. You don't have to think about temperatures for that. Well, it's the same info. I think it depends on the person. Some people might prefer to relate it to temperatures. think that comes down to color sense. Yeah. You can have a yellow that leans toward blue, toward red. Yeah, well, I mean, that's the same thing. It's just not the same. We just will not talk about it with the same words, but it's basically the same stuff. My husband does not understand my pages and pages of dots, but think experimenting and notes were key for me. Yeah, oh, definitely. I mean, doing a bajillion mixes is an excellent way to figure it out. You're comparing it. I do think that throws out a lot of people because they think it is an absolute concept. Yeah, I think I see what you mean. Like, color temperature is not about learning like what color is what temperature by heart. It's about always being able to assess it in context, I guess. Because it's not necessarily absolutes, depending on how close you zoom into the color wheel. But then again, it's a thing about this color is cool, and this color is cooler than this other color, or not. I really wish I could find a way to create content to help people maybe figure it out for themselves, so that way they would like remember it better if they can understand it themselves. For instance, why do we get violet shadows? Because the sunlight is warm. It's a yellow wavelength, something like that. In example, one warm blue can be cooler than another warm blue. It's relative. Yep. Because it's a wheel. What's a wheel? You know, it's gradated, so you can always, if you zoom it in like super tight to an area of the gradation, it's all gonna be like warm blues, but the one at the sort of top of the area you zoom might be warmer blue than the one at the bottom, let's say, of the area you zoomed in. They're all warm blues technically, because they all like lean toward red, but quick cat comment while planning for tomorrow. I can't seem to figure out the real difference between a Manx and a bobcat. Is there one? For me, it is better to think that violet is the Yeah, but that's not the same. I don't think I get it, Paolo. I don't think that's the same sort of. This is more about complementary colors, not necessarily about temperature, right? A Manx and a bobcat. Isn't the bobcat like the wild one, and Manx is more like domesticated? Should talk about it with temperature. Ugh, that's not helpful. The internet says there is, but basically it's about a cat with no tails, or a very small tail. So that's all you need to focus on, I think. I think Bobcat has a shrub of a tail and the Manx has no tail at all. Personally, since I started getting more into watercolor, I can't help but differentiate warm blue and cool blues as separate entities. If you shine a warm color light, the shadows will be cold color, but that's not wrong, but it's not as visual as saying, like, if you shine a yellow light, the shadows will be purple, violet. Like, I know like color theory, and I know that ultramarine is warm and like phthalo blue green shade is cool, but in my head the association is that those turquoisey blue, they feel warmer to me. I know they're not, but sort of like there's two sides to it. There's the theory of it, and then there's sort of the interpretation my brain does of these colors. I think I get stuck with trying to see yellow or red within blue. Yeah, what if you try to see it more like your blue, is it a bit more green or is it a bit more purple? That can help. It's not as far out as yellow and red, it's closer. That might be a bit easier to see. Oh, wait, you said that. If I think to myself, this blue is closer to purple, closer to green, I can see the temperature easier. Yeah, that's it. That's a really good way to help with it. And how is it barked? Crapo. Is the audio dead? Oh no, is it all dead? Is it? Okay. Oh, okay. You guys can hear. Okay, good. I had some issues with my computer during the week where it would reset its audio driver by itself. And like YouTube live streaming has such a delay that it's not easy. Oh no! Oh, I'm sorry, dude. That's okay. That happens. I'm just glad it's like nothing. Okay, so I need to let these rest so that I can take a look at them later and fix the issues before I ink it. So just put this aside. You can look up Wien's law that relates the wavelength to the temperature in physics. The number of times that happened to me. Oh no. I didn't know M was for muting. So is there anything else you kind of want to see specifically? I really want some empty pens the size of Gansai Tambi. Quick run, press F4. Don't press F4! Isn't that the quit button? I really like the size of Gansai Tambi pens too. It's such a nice, beautiful size. Laughs in mobile. I thought it was Alt F4, but maybe not. It's one of the keys on a keyboard that can possibly close the app you're using or the software you're using. You think they aren't gonna last you very long and they go and go and go. Oh, the Gansai Tambi ones. Did you get the Van Gogh pinks and purples? I had that palette. I made a video on it, I'm fairly sure. I've seen people who had mini laptops and keyboards with F4. Yeah, but not like a phone. It would be so nice and big. Yeah, they really would. Sometimes I try to think, like, what else could possibly work that wouldn't take as much time to use up, you know? Because to get through a pan of paint is a lot of painting. If you know someone who does 3D printing, perhaps they could 3D print pans of similar size. Hold on, I'm bogged down by my stupid fingers being dry and gross. I hate that they catch into everything. Okay, I need to stop fiddling with it. I've searched and searched to find them for sale empty. I don't think I've ever seen them empty. I feel like I wish there were centers to 3D print. You can sometimes look it up on Etsy. Some people will offer to 3D print custom-sized pans. Where is Otto when you need her to give you a link? Or I don't know if she could find it. I don't know if it exists. I feel like with the width of the community, we would probably know by now if someone had found empty Gansai paints. Oh, I know. Let me go get some water. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. You said fingers and reminded me, apparently trying to mix red and yellow nail polish does not want to be orange. I had mustard and ketchup fingered sweet. Yummy. If we need a designated 3D printer in the group. Oh, really? Woodward and Father. I don't think I have the Etsy app on my phone. Though. Woodward and Father. Etsy. Go. Plein air provisions. That's cute. I'm sure I can remember chat on Discord about someone waiting for some printed pans. Oh yeah, look at that. They have a bunch of stuff. A lot of enameled pans. Paper pans. There's another person I'm thinking of. Try to find it. Oh my gosh, some of the stuff is nightmarish. Not what I'm looking for. I think it's them. Oh, would you look at that? Gansai size 3D printed watercolor pans. At 77 cents Canadian per pan. The shop is Dirty Blue Shop. Huh. I mean, definitely Skynet was listening. Delivery. How much? Oh, shipping to Canada is $15. Dispatches from the Netherlands. But yeah, I think it's the shop that can make custom-sized pans. Yeah, custom designed pans. They have a few examples here, like a cloud. I think this is a kiwi. Not sure. And this last one, I have no idea what it is. A mushroom. A H. I don't know. Yeah, maybe shipping to USA is a bit better. Or maybe someone else has something similar on Etsy. This is just the first one that I've found. But there might be other that offer something similar. Okay, so I searched 3D printed custom paint pans, I think. So in this part here, I have gouache. 10 colors of it actually. Yeah. So I might be doing mixing charts for these, if you guys are fine with that. Dude company, the more of us banded together, the more likely one will remember the right thing at the right time. Exactly, strength in number. Okay. What paper should I use for doing these? Good thing with gouache is that you can use cheapo cellulose paper, and it works really well with gouache, like better than watercolor. So I might do that. Oh, I don't think there's enough sheets left in this one. I'm looking for a sketchbook. Maybe this one? Oh yeah, that might work. Summon and burn. Not a fan of gouache, but I'm all good for mixing charts. Oh, cool. I don't know if I'll do the regular chart like we're used to seeing. Like this. I might do something a bit different that will give me a chance to explore gradation or variety in the mix. So I saw an artist do that in a video for, I don't remember what it was, but anyway, the person really struggled with gouache originally, and until they made a bunch of swatches, and it's the same logic as a mixing chart like this. You take one color, you mix it with all the others, but instead of having just like one mix for each combo, she made like more gradation, and it was not organized in a grid like this. Looks like a lovely, big lovely mixing space, but it's mostly that teeny tiny rectangle in the center. I was so mad that I had my palette with those wells. What do you mean? Hold on. I'm so mad that I hate my palette with those wells. So pretty, but totally freaking useless. It looks like a big lovely mixing space, but it's mostly that teeny tiny rectangle in the center. This here? Well, these are like wells. Yeah, it's gonna pool. That's why I wanted to use it with gouache, because you kind of use gouache in a less runny way than watercolor, I guess. Not sure if it's the way I used it, but couldn't have more than sort of 3 colors going. Oh yeah, that's it. Okay, so as opposed to a, well, I mean, mind you, if you look at this one, I don't really have much more than a mix by well, and I have a mess on the other flap. I'm always looking for a clean space for a new mix on this one, but I figure it out. I don't think that one has ever been washed. Yeah, it would possibly need like if it had, instead of 3 wells like that, if it was split in the middle into 6 wells, it might be easier to use. You can still use the corner, but the thing is if you put anything in the corners here, you might not be able to close it, right? So So I will, like, I thought that with gouache you can just blop it and it's used less liquidy, so it would be fine. That was my idea. I think for the sake of this mixing exercise, I would probably be better off if I took them all out. So that was a weird selection to try and put together because I don't have that many Holbein gouache in 5 ml tubes. Like, Jackson's doesn't sell them in that format. So you technically have to buy a set if you want these. There's a lot of colors that I have. I mean, on the standard flat palette you can use the corners. Can you really? Because if you make it a liquid wash, it's gonna fill the whole space, right? The core palette is a lot of fun with all the bubbles section. You cannot mix like big pools of color in there, but let's try this one. Oh yeah, ceramic plates are great. That's beautiful. Yay, an ultramarine color that wasn't all separated and gross. Oh, I'm not on screen. Crapo. Still not on the screen. Okay, that's good. Oh. My normal palette is the flat Jackson's palette and I have blobs of color all over the thing. Okay, this color is turquoise blue. Oh, it's so nice and thick. Tried using soap dishes as a ceramic plate. Nope. Super greedy on certain ones and will eat. Yeah, you really gotta be careful on which kind of soap plate you use. I mean, mixing blue and blue is a bit silly, but Loves of Color sounds like the title of an interesting tutorial. A lot of artists do like beautiful blobs painting. I think Yao Chen, if I remember that name right, like they paint like shape that seems to be in water, and then they add color to it, and the color just spreads out, and it's beautiful. So this is let me know if you are also like that, but pouring paint fresh from the tube is always so much fun. That's nice colors. And I didn't want to go the route of a split primary for a gouache palette. Then I'm a big fan of fresh paint and nicely poured pans. All the potential shining back up at you. Oh my gosh, yes. This is a very bright leaf green. Yeah, I love fresh paint, gouache in particular, because after doing watercolor it becomes a bit of a pet peeve to see people make them into palette it's such a waste. Like, gouache doesn't re-wet as well as watercolor does, and it doesn't dry super well either. This is the color I dubbed cyan green in my head. I should not have rinsed my brush. Oh well. My Chipo gouache are in a palette, but the Turner and Winsor one, it feels like waste. It definitely does. I agree. Plus the Winsor Newton ones turn to rock and they break apart a lot. I tried having Winsor Newton gouaches in a palette at some point, and it didn't. It was not exactly fun. First of all, it didn't re-wet all that well. And then it like, if I was to like tumble the palette a bit, not that I would recommend it, but it can happen. Well, all the colors, you get bits and pieces of other colors in all your other colors, and it's just like, it's a mess. Wait, Steven. Yeah, that's fine. I think if you do make a gouache dry palette, it's probably best for the underlayers because it's going to be too thin to make opaque. Yeah, that too. A good way to use watercolor and gouache, so to have something that is dry but that you can still have some gouache effects with it, is still the combo of a tube of white gouache and dry watercolor. Even if it's not, it doesn't work as well as if you have fresh paint, but at least the watercolors will dry fine, and if you keep the white gouache in a tube, it's not that bad. Yeah, I learned that the hard way, putting Winsor & Newton gouaches in pans. Luckily, I only poured a few half pans, so I have most of each tubes left. Ugh. I keep my artisan tubes, but my professional gouache, M. Graham and Holbein, get the palette treatment. Holbein, not Holbein, M. Graham dries relatively well for gouache because of the honey content. And Holbein, I just find it really hard to re-wet, so I prefer to keep it in tubes if I can. I was really surprised, and they were really hard to be wet again. Definitely. I should learn that zinc gouache cracks more than titanium white, so zinc white is best as a mixing white, titanium is best pure. Well, zinc white is more transparent, so if you want to work in opacity, it's really not the best to use. Titanium white is still the best one. The best one. Oh, have a good lunch, Phoebe. Phoebe, oh sorry, Jellybean. Sorry. I didn't realize how much I rely on layering before I be trying gouache and making lovely mud. Oh, I know what you mean. Gouache is such a different mindset than watercolor. Because layering is trickier. Whereas watercolor is sort of all about layering. Yeah, I can talk. This is Jaune Brillant 2. Ideally, I would have wanted Jaune Brillant 1, but I didn't have it. I only had the 2. Why I love acrylics. That's why acrylic gouaches or matte acrylics are like best of both worlds. Oops, it's a bit too far into the mix already. Gouache is the right answer if I ever want to make a storybook, but good gracious, you have to be in a totally different level, but at least you can sort of fix mistakes. Kind of. Like, if you really like gouache and you like to be able to fix mistakes, it's worth maybe trying acrylic gouache. You can get like just a few colors to try at first, but it's definitely the best for fixing mistakes and layering and all that. Yeah, gouache kind of has a limit to layers, especially if you go thick. Oh yeah, you kind of have to go a bit alla prima with gouache and do it all and then hope for the best. By the way, another art manga I read and it has a completed season is Arte. It's about a female painter in a Renaissance setting. Ooh. I have a set that I haven't been brave enough to crack out yet, but love, love, love the flat acrylics. Oh, is that the So Flat one? Did you get that? those are so nice. Oh man, I want to paint all the things now. Getting a few tubes of Holbein gouache for Black Friday to round out my professional range. Chambriand, lilac, turquoise, looking forward to... Ooh! Sounds great. Okay, next is Chinese orange. It is an orange pigment and a brown pigment. I have a few tubes of a brand. I will try to dig them out. And they are super matte. Oh, that's great. I've seen people mix together like regular gouache and acrylic gouache, and I don't understand how that's supposed to work. Because my impression is that you know the fat, oh my god, that orange is super strong. But my impression is that sort of watercolor is the leanest of the paints. And you're supposed to go fat over lean. So everything that is more fat than watercolor will have to go on top. And I always felt like it went watercolor, gouache, acrylics, and then oils. So I don't understand how you can mix something like regular gouache on a painting where you also use acrylic gouache. Is it not gonna crack? If you have any insight about that, I'd love to know. It's a really interesting muted purple. It looks almost black because it's too thick. It's almost a neutral at that point. I remember first hearing about fat over lean, and it actually took me a bit to understand. Fat goes over lean. That's what she said. Yeah, that's I don't know if it shows it well, but it's really dark and muted. It's lovely. Is it down to most gouache paintings aren't for a long life, so the original doesn't matter as much? Maybe, maybe. The only few artists I've seen use them like together, they were not exactly mentioning anything regarding the life expectancy of the painting, or but sometimes it's for shows and all that, and I'm just a bit confused. Maybe it's one of those things like people get really offended when, mind you, I would too, but when you see people make tea in a really weird order. I'm confused what you're asking. Are you asking because of gouache being dry and prone to cracking? Yeah, and you basically put it on top of a plastic, like a sealed surface, because acrylic gouache is acrylic binder, and that's plastic. Like I can see gouache, regular gouache, sticking to paper because it is absorbent, it has a porosity, but I don't see how you can get regular gouache to stick on top of acrylics. It just breaks my brain a bit. It is like an eggplant color. It's really aubergine. Yeah, that's a good eggplant color. Good eye. That's such a pretty orange on its own. Like I know regular gouache is gonna crack anyway, but I just feel like it's only gonna be worse, and I cannot imagine like selling original art that has that. Like some people get really flustered about selling art with a fugitive color, but in my opinion, selling art that will like crack and break apart, to me that's worse. Might just be me, but this is flame red. Kind of looks similar to the Chinese orange. Guess we'll see. I'm always surprised that the like the tinting strength of ultramarine blue is never what I expect it to be. You always kind of need way much more ultramarine blue than you would think. Better punch us in the face with anything like that. Hey, Barbara, hi! Isn't that part of the job of varnish? How do you varnish regular gouache, though? Won't the varnish just reactivate it and make a huge mud mess? I think the gouache isn't done in a complete flat layer, more like patches that the acrylic puzzles into. Acrylic is also pretty water soluble. It is water soluble, but anyway. To help it not crack! Probably blend into the gouache. It's just weird. It's weird. Hello, Barbara. What's up? I use spray. How many layers of spray varnish do you put on? Out of curiosity. Unless the solvent of the varnish is not aqueous. Oh, okay. I know some people varnish gouache. Yeah, I for gouache the Dorland's wax medium thingy works super duper well. I really love to use it over gouache, but yeah, I don't know how it works over watercolor. It sure as hell doesn't work over colored pencils. Definitely not. Probably too many. I don't have the space to safely spray anything, actually, except water. Not a huge difference between the flame red and the Chinese orange, but I have a spray varnish for pencils and pastels, yeah. You don't want to try and varnish pastels with something you have to rub in, right? That doesn't sound like a very good idea. Me either. I have to go outside. The neighbors there. We have a neighbor here that yells obscenities at times, so I don't feel too self-conscious by going outside to spray stuff. I'm at the point where I just don't care. If anybody would stare, I'd be like, "What? Do you expect me to do this inside? What are you, bunkers?" The last two colors in my selection are Burnt Umber and Permanent White. Probably wouldn't matter if you're gonna cover the pastels with acrylics. Is there any art medium that is messier than pastels? Can you think of something that is messier than pastels, like dry pastels? I am small and fragile, so fight me. Sorry. Come on, blue. Yeah, this is gonna be... I chose Burnt Umber because I prefer it over Burnt Sienna for mixing neutrals, because it's a bit... it has a better tinting strength and it goes dark much sooner than Burnt Sienna. It's so easy to overpower ultramarine blue. What's wrong with you? How can you be so like intense looking yet so weak? So weak. I remember as a broke high schooler, we used hairspray for preserving charcoals and pencil draws. It will work, but it's not archival, so your thing is gonna yellow with time. Charcoal is just like dry pastels, right? Except black. Permanent white. I think it's PW6. Yeah, so it's titanium white. Pigment powders. Pigment powders are quite messy. But, like, with dry pastels, it's the process of using them to create art that is sort of the worst, because when you rub them on paper, that's when the dust happens. Graphite buddy. Sculpting in red clay. Oh man. That looks like fun though. And it's not powdery, so I think it's a bit better because it's not powdery. Like the powdery stuff, if there's a gust of wind, you're screwed. It's gonna be all over. I forgot to write. That's the main reason I want to try that liquid charcoal. The Schminke one? You just described me perfectly. Intense looking, but so weak. Charcoal is the worst. The vine charcoal. Oh, yeah. I can't imagine the poor janitors who had to vacuum out the art spaces in school. Like the place where the students do charcoal and all that. Can you imagine the mess? Like, no one cares if it's messy. Yes, the Schminke one. Oh, do you know which color you want to go for? Hey, Linux Switch, hi! Because they have like the warmer, the cooler, and the neutral one. I don't really remember which is which. Burnt Umber. And finally, Oh. Let's try to not take too much space with this one. I'm really concentrated on mixing my color without touching the brown next to it. Hey, Yuri, hi. Lise, hi. Hello. Nice to see you guys. Ah, donut. The cooler and the neutral. Oh, interesting. Renaissance released a dupe to the Schminke Cola, whatever, here, and it's like 4 times cheaper, but I'm still kind of scared to try the liquid charcoal. At that price, though. Like, if it's 4 times cheaper, so it's gotta be like, what, 3-4 pounds if we use the same currency? Like, the Schminke ones are really expensive. I don't remember exactly how much, but I saw the price and I was like, ooh, this is one I am gonna completely skip because it's not entirely, like, it still rubs off a little bit, I think, and I was like, no. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. No thanks. There's peach pit, cherry pit, and grape seed, I think. I think peach pit is the warm one. Yeah, that's one I tried last. I'm not awake yet. I used charcoal a lot in high school, coming home even after washing my hands. Oh yeah, the charcoal gets everywhere. I had an issue this week where one of my burners had developed some soot, and instead of using my head and brushing it away, I used a wet towel. Oh no. And smeared greasy soot from pillar to post in the process. Oh no. It's like 17, that's zlotys, right? Is that it? In Canadian it's about 2.5, I think, and Schminke Cola is 99. So that's like 1/5, less than a fifth of the price of the Schminke one. That's good. Math is not my friend, we have fights. Sorry, something fell. Okay, so that's one done. Slutty. Glad I remembered that. Oh, that's not gonna fit. I'm gonna have to do it this way. I'm gonna need another palette. For the older folks, it was like the old toner cartridge. Alright, so now this one is done, so you go on holiday. Next is turquoise blue as the base color for all the mixes. So turquoise blue and terre verte. It's I like it. Didn't really know when I took it, but it's really the perfect cyan color in my opinion. Like that's nothing to say. Perfect. I too have a pugilistic relationship with I got nothing against math as long as it will let me use a calculator. I'm okay. Ooh, I love this color. Oh, that's lovely. Did you guys watch the documentary about Britney? It's Britney versus Spears on Netflix. Shutter's cartridge donor. I think I mentioned it, but I almost flunked maths when I started high school. But then it clicked. I finally understood that math is basically just logic. And after that, I had a bit... Like I had good scores after that. I did okay. Not that I remember any of it by now, but, you know. I haven't watched it, but I heard it has nothing I wouldn't find on YouTube. No, I haven't. Well, it's free on Netflix if you have Netflix already, so... But yeah, no, I haven't. Was it interesting? I don't really see how they would be grabbing money. I think it was interesting. I haven't researched like super deeply into Britney and what happened in her life or whatnot. But it was, I think it was really interesting in light of the fact that the whole conservatorship was ended. Like, they don't focus too much on her life. They don't go into details, really. At most, like, they mention who she's dating. And they just, like, say that they refer to her kids as her kids. That's it. And it's just about the whole timeline of it. And it's mostly about how really weird it was that they would keep on holding up that conservatorship when there were a lot of info that she wanted none of it and she was trying to end it, and it would never work. I dropped one of those cartridges at work once. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, like, I'm just happy she's potentially out of this bad situation. Yeah, that... I mean, it was up to a point that you would not wish that on anybody. Like, I can understand possibly the conservatorship for, like, the business side, but there was a conservatorship. So basically someone else was taking all the decision for her personal life. And that's just really weird. And she went cray-cray, but, I mean... And if you put it in perspective of what other people have been getting away with, it's really not that... Like, it's not as bad as that. It's just so weird. I'm of the mentality that she wants to get married and her boyfriend is giving her bad advice so he can get married. Who? Brittany? I don't know. That didn't really come across as something in the documentary. Like, they really don't focus on her personal life all that much. Like, they will say when she marries so-and-so and when she eventually divorces some other guy and all that, but it's not, like, about that. Yeah, and it was... her father was named as the conservator, but her father is not a very nice person. Her situation is a hellscape too. Like, it's not unlike, and just in terms of how early they got into show business and all that, but it's not unlike Michael Jackson's, and he didn't do very well either. It's really hard to have a balanced mindset when your life is completely wacky and does not follow the same milestones as anyone else. If by quick you mean she cried at Paparazzo, then... Oh, they wouldn't let her alone for a second. Like, if you can't put gas in your car without having like 20 paparazzo with you. Or paparazzi. Ugh. And my friends might be a minority, but pretty sure I went through a shave your head and be a rebel. It's not that rebellious. I mean, oh no, she shaved her head. I mean, she was pissed. She was... so much pressure, can you imagine? Shia LaBeouf had similar breakdowns and nobody did anything similar. Seriously. No conservatorship for Shia LaBeouf. Oh, 100% abusive, yeah. Hey, I hope lunch was great, Jellybean. Remember when Russell Crowe punched a paparazzo? Good times. Nothing happened, I think. Oh, definitely. I mean, maybe the guy, the paparazzo, tried to sue Russell Crowe, but they didn't like take everything away from Russell Crowe for that. Sorry. It's just like it lasted for 13 years. For 13 years, she had no say into what she was doing, how she was living her life, what kind of meds she was taking or not. Her doctors, like they had papers saying that she was suffering from... okay, don't quote me on this. I don't remember the exact terminology, but they were saying that she was on a path that was like dementia. All while she was like putting out albums and going on tour. But no, she was struggling with some dementia-like stuff. And you're like, what? How? Hold on. Who is an actual cannibal? Who is an actual cannibal? Spinal injection actually helped a little bit for the first time. I have to get... Is it hard? Is it painful to get? How does that go? I remember Daniel Radcliffe sticking it to the paparazzi by wearing the same outfit whenever he was out and about. How conservatorship are still legal? That's a very good question. If anything, I can maybe sort of see it to protect the what's the word I'm looking for? The work of a person. Like if you remember Jean-Michel Basquiat, the painter, they wanted to make an NFT out of one of his sketches and then destroy the original sketch. In that kind of situation, maybe a conservatorship might be useful to sort of go, you can't do that. Don't. But aside from that, NFTs are the worst. Yeah, they're not great. They're not a good idea. They kind of do like another one that's having a really rough time is Meghan Markle. Like that's not an easy life. Conservatorships should be for very much renegotiated regularly, even when they are on the up, and very few are. They're meant to be protective and can be, yeah. Yeah, protective, fine. Abusive, nope. Wasn't there some similar situation with Macaulay Culkin? Oh my god, I've never spelled that out before. How weird. I don't think that's exactly how you spell it, but I get it. Yeah, he's as another like child celebrity. That's a really weird way to grow up. I think he did sort of okay, but he did okay by disappearing for like most of his teens. Even the British Museum wants to do an NFT on Okusai print. Oh, bleh. No, don't do that. Also, why the heck would the British Museum decide what to do with Japanese art? Like, oh, I hate this stuff. I have mixed feelings about the royal situation. I think some of it is horrendous and some of it is part of the job. Meghan knew she was going to join royalty. Just look at the princess in Japan who is losing her crown and apparently now she's diagnosed with PTSD. I think most of us don't really have a real view of just how insane the stuff is going on with Meghan Markle. Like, I thought she was just like, pfft, yeah, whatever. And then I saw like videos that go into detail on it and I was like, oh, her life is really stressful now. Because there's so many people that hate her for no real reason. And like she can never do anything right by them. And like if she just sneezes the wrong way, they make a whole mess of it. It's crazy. Most child stars have a freak out. Yeah, I can see why. Doesn't sound very healthy. Drew Barrymore is an amazing human and went through some crazy struggles. Yeah. Most people in general have a freak out over two. Yep. The thing is that we are sort of possibly allowed to freak out in private. And like no consequences really, or like much smaller consequences will happen of said freak out. But everybody that's in the spotlight, they can't really freak out like secretly. There's a guy on YouTube that does like hour-long rants every few days complaining about the Markles, and honestly, I'm starting to get concerned. Oof. That dude needs help indeed. I can speak to the level of stress and pain, but it seems to me a great place to have been to change things and show youngsters that you can make a difference. Poor Joseph Hubby there complaining on YouTube. I don't think people really get how toxic the UK press is, and that is only one angle. I don't really have a real opinion on the Meghan Markle thing, but geez, the UK press. If you guys are curious to watch it, the videos about Meghan are on Mooncat's channel. So Mooncat is Muneccat, and she made 2 videos about Meghan, and it's really sobering. Like, I really didn't think it would be that bad. I was like, dang, that's awful. That's not just like, oh, she's a celebrity now. It's like, no. This is like insanity level of stuff. Hey, thank you for being here, Tsukaboo. I hope you feel better quickly, and see ya this week. Yeah, the tabloids are bad. They are out there completely. Also, I'm so sick of people saying Meghan Markle is not black enough to experience real racism. No, isn't that sort of racist on its own? In a way, that's really dumb. And I mean, it's not for them to say anyway. Like, what the? It's so silly. Mooncat is great. She really makes good videos, and she's super silly. Tabloids are gonna always be around. We can blame both, I agree. I took a huge break from social media, everything, for a few months. I wish people could get uppity about things that actually matter to aid in positive change instead of all the nonsense. Oh yeah. I said Caturday since it was a black woman who said it. Oh, that's silly. Come on. She went on about black prejudice, but the irony was she was ignorant herself. Yeah. What a stupid thing to say. If I remember Mooncat's videos well, like, you have this side of people saying, oh, but Megan is not black enough, whatever that's supposed to mean. And then you also have people who were terrified that her babies were gonna be too black to be royals or something, and you're like, gross. Hey, have a good night, Duad. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a great week. Stuff like that just wears us all down, to be honest. Maybe you should talk about happier stuff. What's something awesome that you ate this week? Like food. It's getting lumpy in here. Hey, let's talk about food and cats and happier stuff and bunners and all that. Oh, Boxer Point, I wanted to ask. Amy passed out Tammy up for most of the stream. Aw, the drawing you posted today, is it Tommy? Is it Emmy and the bear? And there's like a kitten stuck in between them. I was looking at it, I was like, oh, that's like Emmy and Bear. I just had homemade burgers, so that I probably win. I had a very excellent apple sort of turnover for breakfast. That was A+++++++. I made chalupas tonight and was a craving I didn't know I had until we started cooking. What are chalupas? Honestly, I got a hostess cupcake out of a vending machine after my calculus exam last week, so that was fun. Yes, indeed. Ah, I love that you're featuring your cats in there. That's really cool. Also got cookies last night. Ah, cookies. What kind of cookies? Yum, yum. We had sushi last night. They aren't her spot, but she was my... Yeah, I mean, never gonna comment on that. I have a tortie. Good luck trying to remember where everything goes. Even Peko, I can't remember much of her markings aside from the V on her back. Chalupa, flat taco, more or less. Oh, sounds good. Chocolate chip, M&M, cranberry, white chocolate, and double chocolate. What? All of those? That sounds amazing. Dang, I want cookies now. Edible gummy bear. They're really helping with this medication. That's awesome. It's a bit like, you know, one of the only ways I remember to take like supplements, like vitamins and stuff, is if they are gummies. It's much easier to remember to take something if it's like a gummy rather than if it's just like a caplet that you have to swallow. Oh, we're gonna have another beautiful neutral color here. Sorry. Oh, are you watching the British Bake Off? This guy was making an apple-filled dessert with congealed... What's that? That sounds weird. I don't really watch cooking shows. that's so weak. That's like a Maya blue. Yeah, you're right. Huh, interesting. I made grape jelly today because, oh, grape jelly is good. On a toast with butter, that's amazing. It was just overcooked apple pie filling. It looked very dark and thick, so she called it congealed. Well, congealed is not a very like appetizing word, but I can see that. The apple turnovers we get, they make homemade sort of applesauce to go in the turnover, and it's, you can tell it's homemade because it's brown. It's not like the weird apple flesh color that pre-made applesauce is. It's such a weird color. But yeah, they basically take flaky dough, like for croissant, put a blob of the apple stuff, put a layer of flaky dough on top, and they bake it. So it looks like a fluffy, flaky square, but in the middle you have delicious applesauce. Though they don't put cinnamon in it. That would be my only, like... I can see why, because I know that not everyone loves cinnamon, but it's so weird to have something that is apple flavored and doesn't have any cinnamon in it. They don't do grape jelly in the UK either. Really? To be fair, I had never tasted it before. As a kid, I went to the US when I was like 5. We went to Disney World, and like for breakfast at the hotel, my parents would get me toasts. And you have those containers of all this single serve of various preserves on the table. And there was grape jelly. And I tried it and I was addicted. That's the only thing I ate for breakfast for the whole stay. As a kid, I was mind blown. I was like, this is awesome. Enough that I remember it today. We find some Welch's occasionally in the American food aisle, but it's never with the normal flavors. What kind of flavors do they have then? What, the usual ones are like Concord grape and but we do get things like quince. What is quince? Isn't that like a pear? Do you get quince jelly or is it quince preserves? It's weird how people outside America have such an affinity. I don't... Currants, those... That's like cassis in French. It's basically like a blueberry, right? I have a Rittersport with orange and almond. Ooh! Is it milk chocolate or dark chocolate? Yeah, we get quince, marmalade and jelly. Raspberry, blackcurrant, marmalade. For Welch's? Welch's makes marmalade? What? Oh, dark chocolate, yeah. I mean, you would have the whole thing to yourself, but I respect the choice of dark chocolate. Oh, it's almost 5. Do you guys have any specific questions before I finish this up? Oh, that reminds me. Paulo, did you see... I'm fairly sure I shared it on the Discord, but a while ago I posted a link to a IKEA recipe book that they made. And it's about reusing things that would usually go to the compost. And I don't like cooking enough to try any of them, but it was still really interesting to see. And like they would do things like banana peel, like bacon, and do a marmalade or a preserve with the white part of watermelon, like all kind of stuff that you like don't really have a use for usually, but it was really interesting to see them being reused. Like at one point I think they steam something in the peels of a corn on the cob or stuff like that. It's just super interesting. The Portuguese word for quince is marmelo. Oh really? Huh. Wow, that's really cool. I'll have to Google quince after that, I think. I like the taste of marmalade, but I really don't like the orange skins. Yeah, I'm with you there. They're a bit, they're so bitter. Which is why I kind of like yuzu marmalade, because it's a different taste. But if they made it with like smaller pieces of rind or less rind, that would be A+. So thank you so much guys for being here. And I really hope you have a great week. And we will see each other on the Discord during the week and next weekend, next Saturday, for another live stream. If everything goes well. I really hope you have a great time this week and take care and see y'all next time. Bye!